Hi, everybody. This is Joni from Paperback Exchange Bookstore in lovely Port Richey, Florida. And today we have the honor of interviewing our local author here that just kind of bopped in one day last week, I think, and dropped off a copy of her new book. This is Sara Tunder, and this is her book, The Acros Raiders. And it is a steampunk fantasy and military fantasy. I see that it's labeled as that too. So welcome, Sara. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about your book. It's steampunk, it's fantasy, it's military. Um, Tell us about your book. Who would want to read this book?
Um, I'd say it's also a little bit of a coming of age story. And I'd say people like me, anybody who's kind of just getting out there in the world. The story starts with Scotty and her fiancé. She's the main character. They're trying to escape, trying to get to a new life. A series of unfortunate events happens, and she finds herself whisked away down a different path, joining up with the Acros Raiders, which they're a division in the rebellion. And she kind of sets out with them on a little task of revenge.
Let me talk about what it says at the top of the back of the book here. It says alignment 26, year 269. The Chancellor of Valco is dead, and the High Priestess Tapscott's theocracy is now in order. Tell us about alignment in the year 269. Where are we at in this world?
In the real world, it'd be more like the 1850s, but what an alignment is, there are two moons that go around the planet, and an alignment is when the moons, the planet, and the sun all line up perfectly. And that happens every 350 years. So that's how they measure their time.
That's a long year.
Yeah.
or a long era.
Yeah,
in here. This claims you say dive into Sara Tunder's action-packed tale following Scotty and the Acros Raiders on their mission to end High Priestess Tapscott's theocratic rule, an unorthodox fantasy series. What makes this unorthodox to you?
Just because it falls more in the steampunk genre, and the fantasy really comes through because it's on its own planet. It's very unlike Earth. That's the fantasy aspect I see in it.
So folks that are interested in sci-fi and fantasy, maybe a little bit of insurgent and divergent, right?
Yeah, but it's sci-fi, but goes into the past.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, so let's talk about you now. Let's talk about where you come from and how you got started. How did you get started writing this? I did notice when I looked in your bio, and I'll share some stuff while you're talking. You've got a nice link tree. You've got your authors page that I'll share with folks so they can see and seek you out and find you. But I see that you were a captain in the United States Coast Guard. Thank you.
Oh, I wasn't in the Coast Guard. I just have my license through the Coast Guard. I'm just a six-pack captain.
And what does that mean?
So after, I want to say it's 360 days on the water, because I've been a dock hand for the past 9 years. So I've been working on boats, and I occurred all this time working on boats, working on the water. So I took that experience. I went and took the 2-week course and got my captain's license. So I can drive a boat and have up to 6 people on board.
Well, congratulations. Well, that's great. So how did you get started with writing then? What made you want to sit down and write a book?
Well, actually, is in second grade. My sister brought home a little book that she made, and I'm 2 years younger than her, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, "Hey, Madison, teach me how to do this. That's awesome." So I started writing this little book called Splashy and Ruby about an orca whale and a dolphin. They're just hanging out and doing stuff, and she'd go through and she'd be like, "No, this is how you write dialogue. No, you want to do it like this." So she was my first editor, and was learning things 2 years ahead in school. So I felt pretty cool because my sister was older and she was teaching me stuff.
Very nice. So as far as writing, what is your style? What do you do to get into the groove to sit down and write? What's your can you just sit down, plop down and start writing, or do you have to have a certain routine or a certain
Well,
chair or a certain outfit that you put on?
yeah, usually I just make some tea and I sit down. I have a desk in the office that I used to write at, but now I just sit at the dining room table. That's where I'm at right now, and I just seem to get all my work done here a little better.
So what's the biggest obstacle about writing and finishing a book that you found, and how did you overcome it?
Um, the hardest thing is finding time to do it, and I kind of had to force myself to do it sometimes. I'd wake up in the morning before work. I'd try to write a bit here and there. I also joined a writers group down in St. Petersburg through Shut Up and Write. I'm actually going to try to host one here in Newport Richey. I'd go down there every Sunday, and we just have an hour or two, or we'd sit down, shut up and write and talk about our projects. And it's just kind of
Making the time and the space, right? You almost have to make a date with yourself to sit down and write, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the best obstacle that you overcame, you just had to find the time to do it and make yourself sit down and actually do it. So
Yeah.
easy to get distracted these days.
Yeah,
What's the best advice that since you've gone through this experience now and you're a writer and you have a book that's published, what's the best advice that you could give a new writer?
Well, the best advice I could give is the best advice I got when I started getting kind of serious about writing, is to write what you know.
So you pulled from your experience on the docks and
Yeah.
working with machinery and boats and I guess working with people too, right? On the docks, you've got all different kinds of people. You never know who's coming off of a boat on the shore, right?
Yeah, the main country in the book, Valco, that's actually based after where I grew up in Ohio. So that was my aspect of write what you know. So I got,
Ohio.
like the, oh, you're a Buckeye too?
OH.
Io.
Where did you grow up in Ohio?
A little town called Delroy.
Delroy. I've heard of it. Where is it at?
South of Canton on Atwood Lake.
Oh yeah, so Heggie's Chocolate, Canton, Akron, all of that, right? I grew
Yep.
up in Newark. We call it Newark, Ohio. But yeah, we like the Buckeyes. We're just a bunch of crazy nuts. That's all. We know that.
Oh yeah.
So who is your favorite author?
Actually, I don't really read much. Yeah,
how can you say that as an
mainly
author?
right, but my favorite book series back in middle school was Warrior Cats. So I'd say the Aaron Hunters would be my favorite author then.
So if you could have Aaron Hunter's undivided attention, what would you ask Aaron about writing?
I don't really know.
It's a tricky question, right?
Yeah,
How do you
that's
sell books, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know we sold one for you here when you came in last week, and thank you so much for coming in when you did.
Yeah. No, thank
We
you
like
for
to
being
support
able to
our
do
local authors here. Let's take a little bit of a tour of where people can get a hold of you and if they want to contact you. I have your author page up here, which is Sara Tunder author.com. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yep, Sara Tunder author.com. Those are nice. What are those? Are those the I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna say those are the Appalachians somewhere around Georgia, North Carolina. What is that? What are those mountains?
I'm not sure. That was just a
Oh yeah,
default.
not a picture you took. All right, that was
Yeah, I'm
just
like,
that
ooh,
was just a
mountain.
guess. She got a little bit of a bio here about your license as a USCG captain on the docks and your little bit of time in Ohio. You've got your library with your book, and then you've got a street team log here. Now, tell us about the street team. Are you looking for beta readers still?
Not right now, because I don't have anything that's ready to be beta read yet. But yeah, I have a very small team that helped me with the first book, but I'd love to get a bigger team together for the second book just to help read things over and give some good feedback.
Right, because we're looking at your Goodreads and we don't have any ratings on here, and we would encourage anybody watching this right now to please come in and buy the book from us or grab a book from Sara Tunder author.com and read the book and put some reviews in, because that's how we get more books sold, right?
Oh yeah, I'd really appreciate that. The reviews really mean everything to being a writer, or honestly any small business. Reviews are super important.
Because you have plans for doing Arcos. This is Arcos, the Arcos Raiders 1, and you have plans on doing 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be a trilogy.
So a few reviews on Goodreads would be a great encouragement for you to get on top of that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely be great.
When did you actually finish writing this? You taking a little bit of a break and then you're going to jump right back into it, or?
Yeah, I officially published it in October, and I started writing book 2 just about right away, but I've been kind of getting into the marketing aspect. I've been going out to some local markets to sell, and
where can folks around here in Pasco find you at your open markets? I know you were you down at Tasty Tuesdays at one?
No, the other day I was just at the Backyard Bazaar. But I'm not lined up to go back there yet, so I'm still kind of looking for events in the area.
So look for you down in downtown Newport Richey and open air events.
Yeah, and
that way.
I actually do have some books for sale at Angel's Art Attic too. That's on Main Street. It's a little art shop there.
Great. And let me show everybody this too. You've got your link tree put together where everybody can get a hold of you and all of your stuff. You've got your Arcos, you've got your website and the newsletter. How often do you put your newsletter out?
Just whenever I have something that's like a good update on, progress in the book. I sent them out more frequently before, when I was getting close to being finished with writing, and during publishing, and with the whole ebook pre-order. But yeah, I haven't really done anything too recently. I'm actually working on redoing the newsletter template right now. So
we've got some copies here at the shop. You've got Kindle versions. You've got have you got an audio version out yet?
No, not yet.
All right, well, let's try to make you successful enough so they'll offer you an audio option too, right? Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Sara. And again, you can get our book here. You've got down on Main Street in Newport Richey. What's the place down there that it's at?
Angel's Art Attic.
Angel's Art Attic. It's available there as well. And hopefully we'll see you popping up in bookstores around the area too. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And this will be available on YouTube. We're going to push it out onto Facebook too. So if anybody has any questions for Sara, any questions about the book or the upcoming books, please feel free to reach out. If I see the message, I will make sure Sara sees it and responds. If not, she'll be bopping on here and there and talking to folks that are perusing our social media pages. So thank you again, Sara, and you have a good evening.
Love to answer any questions anyone has.
All right.